The name is Jesus, only Jesus. Oh, only Jesus. Only Jesus.
Welcome back to Faithful Chats. Today, we're diving into a practice that might be less talked about, but is incredibly powerful in the Christian faith, fasting. In Matthew chapter 6, verses 16 to 18, Jesus gives us some important guidance on how to approach fasting in a way that's aligned with his heart.
That's right. Jesus starts with, "When you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces to show others they are fasting. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full."
This is really interesting, because fasting was a common practice in Jesus' time. But the religious leaders would often make a show of it, wearing disheveled clothes and acting miserable to get attention for their piety.
Exactly. But Jesus flips the script. He says, "But when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that it will not be obvious to others that you are fasting, but only to your Father who is unseen. And your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you."
So Jesus is saying that fasting shouldn't be for the approval of others. Just like with prayer, it's not about impressing anyone. It's about a private, sincere devotion to God. Fasting is an opportunity to focus more on God and less on our own comfort or external recognition.
Exactly. Fasting is a form of self-discipline that draws us closer to God, helping us turn our attention away from worldly distractions and back to Him. It's a time to reflect, pray, and seek God's will more intentionally.
And when Jesus talks about fasting in secret, he's reminding us that our relationship with God should be personal, not performance-based. Our reward isn't public acknowledgement, but the deep, spiritual growth that comes from genuine connection with Him.
So what does fasting look like for us today? Well, it's not just about giving up food. People can fast from anything, social media, entertainment, or other distractions that might be pulling our attention away from God. It's about making space for God to speak into our lives.
And it's important to fast with a purpose. We should use that time to pray, to reflect, and to draw nearer to God. Fasting can be a powerful tool to help us focus on what really matters.
It's also a good reminder that fasting is not meant to be a burden or a way to prove ourselves to God. It's a gift, a way to reset and recalibrate our hearts.
Exactly. And Jesus makes it clear that fasting is meant to be a private practice. It's not about impressing others or seeking their praise. It's about connecting with God in a deep, personal way and trusting that He sees and rewards our hearts.
Listeners, here's a question for you this week. Is there something you might consider fasting from to create more space for God in your life? How can you use that time to grow closer to Him?
We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences with fasting. And next time, we'll be moving on to the topic of storing up treasures in heaven. Another powerful teaching from Jesus about where to place our hearts.
Thanks for joining us on Faithful Chats. Until next time, let's approach fasting with humility and a heart focused on deepening our relationship with God.
As we wrap up today's episode, we want to remind you that we don't shy away from difficult topics just like the Bible. We believe tackling challenging subjects head-on is important, because that's how we grow and learn together.
However, we know that sometimes these kinds of conversations don't exactly help with the algorithms. So if you found today's episode valuable, we'd love for you to share it with friends, Christian or otherwise. Help us spread these important messages far and wide.
If you'd like to support the creation of these episodes and help us continue diving into tough but essential topics, consider becoming a patron or grabbing some merch. All the information is below. Your support makes all the difference.
Thank you for listening. And until next time, keep growing in faith, truth, and love.